The lunchroom was buzzing with noise, but Mrs. Clara Henderson only had eyes for the old man hunched over a chipped plastic tray at table 6. His hands trembled as he tried to cut through a slice of tough meatloaf. Most of the students walked past him, whispering or chuckling, just another drifter the school district had allowed into the cafeteria during the cold snap. But Clara saw something else, something familiar, something broken, but not beyond repair. She didn't know it yet, but by the end of that day, her entire world would tilt on its axis, all because of a tray of food, a coat, and a little kindness. Clara wasn't a teacher who made waves. A substitute in a rural Kentucky middle school, she mostly kept her head down and her heart open. She had taken the job out of retirement to make ends meet, but her real motivation was the kids, and sometimes the quiet ones no one else noticed. When she saw the veteran in the corner, silent, shaking, clearly cold and hungry, she didn't hesitate. She walked over, gently took the tray from his hands and said, "Sir, let me get you something warm." By the time she returned, she had a bowl of chili, a fresh roll, and a steaming cup of coffee. "What's your name?" she asked as she handed the tray back. "Sergeant First Class Dale Thompson. Retired," he said with a proud but gravelly voice. I used to teach my men how to survive in the field. Never thought I'd be the one learning how to survive out here." Her heart cracked. She sat with him, offered her coat, the only one she had, and listened. Clara didn't expect applause, but she didn't expect what came next either. By fourth period, the principal called her into the office. Apparently, school policy prohibited engaging with non-staff visitors during instructional hours and distributing personal items or unauthorized food. Clara blinked. "You're suspending me? For feeding a homeless veteran chili?" The answer was cold, bureaucratic, and final. Tears stung her eyes as she gathered her things and walked out of the school. Her coat was still wrapped around Sergeant Thompson's thin shoulders. Outside, the wind bit through her sweater, but her heart felt heavier than the wind ever could. 2 hours later, Clara was making tea at home when she heard it, tires crunching on gravel, then a knock. Sharp, deliberate. She opened the door to find 3 men in full military dress blues standing at her porch. "Ma'am," said the man in front, his voice firm but warm. "I'm Major Whitaker. May we come in?" Inside, Clara sat speechless as they explained. Sergeant Thompson wasn't just a veteran. He was a decorated war hero who had been reported missing by a local VA center 3 weeks earlier. He had suffered a mild stroke, wandered off, and had been surviving on the streets since. The school's security footage, leaked online after Clara's suspension sparked community outrage, had gone viral. The clip of her offering the coat, the meal, the respect. It had been seen over 6 million times by that morning. "We wanted to thank you personally," Major Whitaker said, "and let you know the Army doesn't forget its own, or those who honor them." The next morning, Clara's suspension was reversed, but it didn't stop there. She arrived at school to find hundreds of students, parents, and staff lining the parking lot, many holding handmade signs. "Kindness matters. Be like Clara. Thank you for seeing him." Sergeant Thompson was there too, clean-shaven, warm, and smiling. He walked up to Clara, stood at attention, and saluted. "I don't know how to thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "but I promise I'll spend the rest of my days trying." Tears streamed down her face as she returned the salute, awkwardly, humbly, and whispered, "Just keep warm, Sergeant." Weeks later, Sergeant Thompson was reunited with his family and placed into a secure veterans care facility. Clara returned to teaching, and something else, too. She was offered a position as the district's new community liaison for compassionate education, a role created to ensure that no act of kindness ever got punished again. Clara didn't set out to be a hero. She just saw someone in need and acted. Sometimes that's all it takes. Because kindness, even when quiet and uncelebrated, echoes farther than we can ever know, and sometimes the very system that punishes a good deed is the one that ends up learning from it. One warm coat, a bowl of chili, and a heart that chose compassion over policy. That was all it took to change a life. And maybe, just maybe, to remind the rest of us that humanity still matters.